Hey, it's Pro Bono with Ed Nahhat. Thanks for joining us for our 4th episode. Today, I'm excited to welcome our special guest, Amanda Afton Martin. Welcome, Amanda. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Ed.
I'm so glad to have you. So I have a first question.
Yes.
Afton Martin, it sounds kind of like a car. Is it a car?
No, it's similar to that name, but Aston Martin is the car.
Oh.
And I'd always hoped to have an Aston Martin, but that hasn't caught on well enough. And I keep waiting every birthday.
Well, what I like about it is, from what I gather, is Afton is your father's last name, your maiden name, right?
Yes.
And it's your middle name, right?
Yes, that's right. And also when I started practicing law, I only had the one last name, Afton, and I wanted to make sure that clients knew who I was. And so rather than dropping it entirely, I made it my middle name.
So you practiced law with your dad, right?
Yes, most of my career we practiced together.
I saw that you wrote in your bio that you practiced law with your dad for 20 years, but he's still practicing law, right?
Yes, my father loves his career. He's 93 years old, and he practices out of his home a little bit still, primarily estate plans now, but he's just always really enjoyed the type of work that he does.
Well, we'll talk about what you describe as creative legacy planning in a minute, but it's very inspiring to me that you personally evolve your practice with your father, because I evolved my practice with my father, and we have a lot in common there that we haven't talked about. So we'll get to that, but I want to talk about you first. So I understand that you have a daughter, is that right?
Yes, only one child. So I grew up in a family of the youngest of 5, actually. And then when my father remarried, when I was in my early 20s, I gained 2 more siblings.
Wow.
So there are 7 of us, and now I only have a small family, only one child, and
Well,
she's 19.
You and your husband, Steve, you have the 19-year-old.
Yes.
Is she interested in the law?
For a very brief time, she expressed interest when I pointed out what a great debater she is and that she should use that skill for good rather than bad in debating her mother all the time. But I think she would be a wonderful attorney, actually, because she really, she has a very big heart and she likes to help other people. And I think she would be a fierce advocate for people.
See, what's fascinating about this, Amanda, is many lawyers are misunderstood, I think, in the public. You just said that someone would be a good lawyer if they have essentially a big heart, if they care. And I think that people misunderstand why people become lawyers. So I know that your dad was a lawyer and he influenced you, and your mom was a legal secretary, right? That's right. She was probably the brains behind the operation, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was brilliant, actually. She was an amazing writer, very kind, very optimistic, and definitely a very kind heart.
Well, isn't it interesting that people often become lawyers because they want to do good?
Yes.
Is that true for you?
Definitely. I think that I thought about different fields to go into. When you're little, everybody wants to be a veterinarian, just like I did. I was thinking about corrections. I really fell in love with economics, which is pretty unusual. I was thinking of being an economist. But when I was growing up, I saw my father. He just really enjoyed what he was doing. And he seemed to enjoy, in particular, the relationships with his clients and finding creative ways to help people. And I saw it as an opportunity to be educated in a way where I could have skills and use those skills to help other people in meaningful ways.
Helping other people. I think that a lot of lawyers get a bad rap because they don't convey the message that they're in it to help. And that's what I like about your practice and what I hear about your clients. Your clients actually send you thank you notes when you're done working with them, don't they?
Yes, sometimes they do, and postcards when I encourage them
to. I brought one. Here.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm like, look at that. You got this in the mail from a client.
Yeah, it's
very
really
impressive.
It's better than any award or recognition for me. That's the true feedback is the feedback from our clients and what an impact we can make for them in their lives.
Well, speaking of recognitions, awards, accomplishments, we're going to go through those right now because people want to know. You got your law degree at Michigan State University College of Law.
It was called Detroit College of Law when I started and ended as Detroit College of Law at Michigan State University.
We had our last guest, Brian Rolfe, our CEO, did the same thing. Were you in school together?
I think he graduated a little bit before I did, but I was in a transition. The school was in a transition period when I graduated.
I see. So they forced you to become a Spartan. Is that it?
Yes.
All right. And then you went to Wayne and you got an LLM.
Yeah.
So forgive me, I only got a JD. I never knew what an LLM was. What is that?
It's a Master's of Law degree. So I knew that I would be in the area of taxation, and I found the tax code just nonsensical.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I thought I needed more education to really clearly understand it and practice in that area well. So that's why I went back to school.
So you went back to school to get an LLM in taxation, and then they changed the tax law.
Well, I think they always change the tax laws. They're always changing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they changed it again in 2017, and they're fighting about it right now. You have to stay up on that subject all the time, don't you?
Yes, and I think it's evolved how much of my practice was taxation. My father and I had a big tax practice, and we did a lot of income taxation and estate tax work. But now I focus primarily on estate tax.
Creative legacy planning.
Yes.
Is that what you call it?
Right.
I love that phrase. That's really cool because it sounds like you're conscious about the client's needs and not just forcing them into a cookie cutter.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I think that I like the term legacy planning because it's just an umbrella that captures a lot of that creative planning that I enjoy. So the way I approach a client would be I want to understand what their goals are and help them identify what's meaningful to them in their lives. And then once we identify those goals, I'll create an estate plan for them, sometimes a business succession plan, and sprinkled in there will be the exciting part of tax planning that I know is so thrilling to everyone. And really we're creating their legacy.
Right.
And probably some of my favorite work has been creating private foundations in relation to that. Sometimes I've created them when people are still living and they carry on after somebody passes away. Or oftentimes people will want to continue somebody's memory. And so they'll create a foundation after somebody dies so that they can carry on their work that they did during their lifetime.
Does that give you insight into how to advise people who are planning for their end, planning for their family to adapt to their end?
I think talking to people, I mean, they're really difficult conversations sometimes when people are, whether you're a hospice companion or, doing estate planning or after somebody dies, estate and trust administration. And for most clients, people can be extremely wealthy or have limited resources, but really their greatest asset are their families usually. And so when I do estate planning, I always want to make sure I focus on, just really maintaining those positive family relationships for clients.
Well, you must know what you're doing because the Michigan Lawyers Weekly told us I think it was last year, just the 2024, that you were one of the influential women of the law. You won an award for that.
Yeah.
And not only that, but the Detroit Business magazine listed you as a top lawyer, and you didn't even ask for that, did you?
No.
They just put you up there. And then I just read last night that you contribute to the to ICLE, to the Institute of Continuing Legal Education. I don't know if people know this, but lawyers all over Michigan go to this resource to get the answer that they need. I know I do it all the time. And you write for them. What I thought was interesting when I read your stuff, though, was that you actually gave a speech once about preparing children for adulthood. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Oh my gosh. And within the context of being a lawyer and preparing them for legal adulthood, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So have you had an opportunity to advise clients in this area?
Yeah, whether they're clients or friends, and often they're both, clients become friends and friends become clients. And once their children turn 18, I usually recommend to them that they have powers of attorney prepared for their children
Sure.
and patient advocate designations.
It sounds like you inherited a holistic approach to the client from your dad.
Hmm. Yeah, my father has always been a very strong advocate for his clients. And, if a client comes in, sometimes I wish I could change the facts or the law, but we have what we have, and we try to creatively find solutions for clients.
So you're not always a lawyer. You're not always here at Kemp Klein working in the office. I happen to know personally that you like sailing. We've sailed together before.
Yes.
And one of our friends has a boat. We've sailed on it together. And I was reading what information you gave me. You said that you have so many things that you like to do. You like sailing, cycling, hiking, kayaking, hiking, swimming. So do you like to hike twice, or
Oh, did I put
just a
hiking
typo,
twice?
or
Maybe it was subconsciously that I put it twice. I do like it quite a lot, but
yeah,
if I were to put one thing multiple times, it probably would be sailing.
yeah.
I love sailing.
I've
And
heard that you canoe and that you're really good at photography.
when I lived in England for 5 years,
Yeah.
and I wasn't working during that time, and it was quite indulging. I had a lot of time with my daughter while she was young. And so I decided that if I took a photography course, it would force me to do some homework and learn a little bit more. So that's when I did it the most, when we were in England. And it was only the last year that I learned that I actually would have been allowed to work. And so I missed the opportunity to to practice law as a solicitor. That would have been a
Oh.
possibility, but you can only wear a wig if you're a barrister.
I was just going to say, you
Yeah.
didn't get to wear a wig.
I think that would have been a little bit more difficult, but that is an opportunity that I missed.
I've read a story about Andrew Jackson, and they used to wear wigs in those days, and he was a lawyer, but he refused to wear a wig. So maybe you're in good company.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wanted to talk about, speaking of good company,
Mm-hmm.
Kemp Klein, you've been here now, what, a couple of years? How long have you been here?
It's been a little over a year. I started in December of 2023, and I made fast friends at the firm. I knew that I would, or I expected that I would enjoy working here, but I didn't expect that to make friends so quickly. Um, we go sailing together. You've been sailing outside of the office. And also, we recently went bowling together as a firm.
How'd you do? Did you bowling?
Well, it's nothing really to be impressed about, but relatively speaking, I did well. I'm usually very poor, and I was happy that I was over 100 on both my games.
Well, did you contribute to the team?
I did. I cheered for people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What other things do we do here at Camp Klein that you like?
Oh, well, outside of, being in the office, we also have an annual golf outing where we raise money through the Kemp Klein Foundation, and everybody participates in that. And I found that everybody is very supportive of one another, that people, really do service for the community, whether it's individually and through the firm. People are very generous. And that's one trait that I really find exceptional here, is that the generosity.
Yeah.
Even during my interview, I had the sense that there was a lot of collaborating in the firm. And if you walk down the hall on a given day, you'll find attorneys in one another's offices or other professionals, and people are collaborating. And that allows us to really do our best for our client to become strong advocates.
I have to echo that because
Mhm.
I began my practice similarly to you. I began practice with my dad,
Mm-hmm.
who was, like your dad, a guy who did estate planning and tax returns and tax work.
Okay.
And I felt a sense of where you would focus on the client and collaborate your ideas. And when I came here, I had the same feeling because everybody wants the best result for the client, and we're willing to talk with everybody. That's why we have lawyers of every discipline, but we're also very friendly. We're not siloed.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. And people are brilliant here. I don't know if people that have been here.
Thank you very much.
I mean, people stay here forever, their whole careers, it seems. And so maybe I wonder if people don't realize how good they have it, that there are just so many brilliant people in the firm. And so you're really able to take all these resources and pool them to work among people that are in the same practice areas or complementary ones. I can walk down the hall and talk to litigation attorneys such as yourself and just run different cases by everybody.
What I notice, speaking of your mom, is that the backbone of an effective practice is support staff, people who have skills who aren't lawyers, sometimes are more essential than a lawyer, people that we rely on, that the client sometimes doesn't talk to. But we have a great bench here
I agree.
of people that really make us look good.
Yeah, it's impressive. I think when I started, I would think I have this opportunity to work with different paralegals and legal assistants, and they're all great, and they're all dedicated and willing to help. And it's just I just feel spoiled.
Well, speaking of helping, I want you to tell me about the Turtle Effect Foundation. And it sounds like it's got a special place in your heart, something that you really care about. When I read about it, I didn't know what the turtle effect was. And I decided not to investigate it. So I just wanted you to let me know live here. What is the turtle effect?
Well, I could spend a whole episode just talking about this foundation because it's wonderful. And it's a great example of, again, taking those skills that we have as attorneys and that knowledge and really helping somebody, when they're going through a difficult time. And so I have a family member who lost her husband unexpectedly. He was quite young. And he was just larger than life. Everybody loved him, and he had such an impact on each individual. And so when he died unexpectedly, he just left a really big hole in everybody's life. And so I'd suggested if we create a foundation that can continue the work that he's done during his lifetime, and we can have people involved and continue his spirit, really.
And that's Turtle?
Yes, Turtle.
A nickname?
That was his nickname.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah. And so we thought it's the turtle effect, how he affected people and how he impacted other people's lives. And so it's still running strong today. And we provide assistance for people that are hoping to go to the Air Force Academy, and also for elite athletes, usually mostly in the area of cycling.
It really means a lot to me to have you here as our guest and right down the hall where I can consult with you. And we're just glad you decided to be here at Kemp Klein instead of somewhere else. Please give your dad our best.
Thank you. Thank you, Ed.
Well, I told you last time that I'd be featuring a rising star here at Kemp Klein, and it was Amanda Afton Martin. So we're glad to have Amanda. Thanks for joining us this time. Next time, we'll have a surprise guest.